There we go. Hello, hello. Right, we are on. Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's Trusted Money TV again. It's good to have you on here. And you see, today we have a guest. We have Naomi Buffery here with us today, who I thought it'd be very useful to have someone come in and talk about things from a different perspective, especially with everything that's going on right now. And I thought she'd be really great to speak to perhaps what some of you might be wondering, some of you might be thinking about, because Naomi, I'm going to come to you with the question soon, but you have worked about with anxiety and within the NHS. So if you want to just tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. Yeah.
So I'm an emotional health coach, but I help with lots of different emotional health difficulties. But I specialise in anxiety mainly. I work with a lot of women that struggle with anxiety and associated issues around anxiety. So things like having not self-doubt, putting lots of pressure on yourself, perfectionism, things, people pleasing, all these sort of symptoms of anxiety or things that cause anxiety. So there's lots of different areas that I help with. And the reason that, I've been doing this for about a year, my coaching.
Okay.
And before that, I did a lot of voluntary work I ran support groups for mums with postnatal depression and anxiety. I used to volunteer for the NHS and did lots of campaigning to advocate changes in maternal mental health care. The reason I've sort of gone along this path was when my son was born 6 years ago. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and there wasn't a lot of support around at the time. It's getting better now. And when I felt better, I had this real urge to help other people, and that's where my journey's gone. And I tried all sorts of different therapies and medication and all stuff like that. And coaching was by far the best thing for my anxiety. It was the only thing that's got rid of my anxiety. And I had anxiety on and off for about 20 years. And when my son was born, it went out of control. And that was the point where I was like, well, I've got to do something about this. And where the coaching was the one thing. I don't struggle with anxiety anymore. It's got rid of it. So that's why I do it now. So that's
amazing.
That's me.
Amazing. No, thanks for working us through that. I think I have a lot of women here, and anxiety is something that probably a lot of us can relate to, have gone through at some point for different things. And not to knock sort of the medical side of things, there's definitely a place for that, which I'm sure you would agree with. You did try all of the different types of therapy, but sometimes it helps to have someone who has been there to sort of get in here, and I suppose that's part of what a coach would do. So and it's really great that you've gone on to use that to sort of help other moms as well. So why I've got you on today, we all know what's happening right now. The world's going crazy, with the coronavirus, and jobs are being lost, and people are unsure about money, and finances is one of those things that time and time again causes a lot of anxiety. And we have our habits that we have that either help us or makes things worse for us, and stories that we tell ourselves about who we are and what we do. And sometimes it's about changing who we think we are and adopting habits that serve us better to become the sort of person that we want to be, and believing in yourself that you can actually do it.
Yeah.
And I know that's part of what you wanted to talk to us about today, how to have more belief in yourself and
Yes.
in being who you want to be. So I'm going to let you sort of crack on, and I'm just going to shut up and listen.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, that's what I want to talk about, something called imposter syndrome. And basically what imposter syndrome is, and it's a bit of a buzzword at the moment. A lot of people are talking about it, more so now. Basically what it is self-doubt. And you can have so much self-doubt that it actually holds you back and it stops you from reaching your potential. And imposter syndrome is when it's this thing where you can have qualifications, loads of really great experience. You can have won awards, you can have accolades coming out of your ears, but you still don't think you're good enough. You still think you're rubbish at your job. For example, if you have imposter syndrome with your job, you could have worked for massive big household names and have 3 degrees, but you still don't think you're good enough for your job. And you put it down to being in the right place at the right time, or down to luck, or down to fate.
Yeah.
You do not accept those, you do not internalize those successes, and that is imposter syndrome. So it's doubting yourself, but to the extreme, because you've got absolutely loads of evidence there that you are really good, but you still don't think you are. And it's like it's what we call a cognitive distortion. It's we talk about body dysmorphia, don't we? People have heard of body dysmorphia. It's the same sort of thing. It's a really unrealistic view of the world. If that's a good comparison.
No,
So yeah, some facts about imposter syndrome. It is more common with women. I'm not saying men don't doubt themselves, because I'm sure there are loads of men that doubt themselves, but it is definitely more prevalent with women. So 6 in 10 women right now have imposter syndrome.
Right.
And 70% of people will experience it at some point in their life. And there was another really interesting thing as well that I read, was that women will only apply for a job if they meet 100% of the criteria, but men will apply for a job if they meet 60% of the criteria.
I have read that, yeah.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't apply for a job if I didn't tick all the boxes.
Probably be the same, yeah.
So it's really eye-opening, because it's unconscious stuff. That's unconscious stuff. And where a lot of it comes from, in my opinion, is in our society, and messages we were probably given as children, is stuff like nobody likes a big head, pride comes before a fall, and don't be a show off, things like that.
Yeah.
So we're not encouraged to internalize our achievements. And because we're not encouraged to internalize our achievements, we don't accept them. It's almost like we feel ashamed to be proud of ourselves. And I think it's a societal thing, because I think in America they're much better at it. They're much better at bigging themselves up. We're not very good at, in this country, at bigging ourselves up. And that causes problems with our confidence and how much we believe in ourselves. So some tips for overcoming social anxiety.
Yes, please. That's what we want. Yeah, we want to hear the tips.
So the first one is recognizing you do it. As I just mentioned earlier, we do things subconsciously. So if it's in your subconscious, you will just do it without thinking. But if you can take it from your subconscious and put it into your conscious mind and make yourself aware of it, that is a massive step to changing it. Actually admitting that it's something that you do is a great starting point.
Yep.
And I had a friend, and she thought that she was rubbish at interviews, but I know that she's not rubbish at interviews, because she has nearly 100% pass rate at interviews. She nearly gets offered every single job. I think maybe I've only known once where she hasn't been offered the job, yet she still believes that she's rubbish at interviews. And
so would you say that it's important to look at the facts as well, like take the emotion out of it temporarily to actually look at the data, look at the facts?
Yes.
Would you say that would help?
Absolutely, yeah, because she wasn't looking at it with perspective.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah. And so actually just recognizing that you're doing that. And I pointed this out to my friend. I say, you nearly have 100% pass rate at getting new passing interviews.
Hard numbers, yeah. Yeah.
And it never even crossed her mind to that thought. That thought that actually, yeah, I do nearly get every job that I interview for, because she just had this really strong belief that she was rubbish at interviews. So
I guess it's easy as well to focus on the thing that's not going well versus all the things that have gone well. You focus on that one thing that hasn't gone well, and it's so easy to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of the time, when you think about those things, aren't based on reality either. They're just based on your beliefs, and our beliefs about ourselves are so ingrained that we actually believe they're true. But quite often, and you probably know this already, quite often those beliefs aren't based on fact, and they're distorted. Again, they're a distorted version of our reality. So spotting that is an absolute game changer.
Great point. Yeah.
Yes. So the next one is something called letting your heart rule your head. So what we can do is, because we feel something, we think that it's trying to tell us something. So if we have an emotion, we believe that it's that emotion is trying to tell us something. But just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean it's necessarily true. So if you feel, and this is following on from what I'm just saying, if you feel like you're a failure, it doesn't mean that you are. So not accepting those things that you feel about yourself. If you, for example, you pass your driving test and you can't understand why you passed your driving test, and you're sort of baffled about it and think that it's lucky, doesn't mean that that's actually the truth. That doesn't mean that your thoughts and your feelings aren't always based on truth. So if you can get into a habit of questioning those things, it's all about self-awareness, basically, not accepting every single thing that you think about yourself. So if you went to an interview and you came out and you thought, well, that was rubbish, I'll never get that job, rather than just accepting that as the truth,
no fact,
maybe try and analyze the situation on a from a more realistic point of view.
Mhm.
So yes, we can do that quite often. We can feel something and feel an emotion, and just because we feel it, we believe it to be true.
Mhm.
It's not always the case.
Yeah.
Learning from our mistakes, that's another one.
Yeah.
So you can look at mistakes in two different ways. You can look at them as confirmation that you are rubbish and you're a failure and you're not very good at that particular thing that you failed at. Or you can look at them as an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Now, this is growth mindset and fixed mindset, which is a whole other. There's whole books written about
Oh,
this.
yes.
You can learn so much about this.
Yeah.
So if you want to go off and do some study after this and learn a bit more about growth and fixed mindset, it's really interesting stuff.
By the way, I would recommend it, guys. Definitely do it. Definitely do it, because it all starts from here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that I've had with my son recently.
Oh, right.
Is he's naturally got a fixed mindset, and
Oh,
we've had to really
at 6, you've
well,
spotted that.
know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
He had to keep encouraging him and saying, you can't. Sorry. The best way to learn is from practicing and practicing and practicing.
Yeah.
But he thought, I can't write, so therefore I cannot do it ever. So we've had to,
Right.
and that was I don't know actually if you can naturally have a fixed or growth mindset, but that's what it seemed to be like. He naturally had a fixed mindset.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely would like to think that you can change it, like you said,
yes.
to recognize it and then do something about it. I think that we absolutely can, and it's great that he's got you from such an early age, sort of challenging that and getting in there with it. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, his teacher actually said he doesn't believe in himself, and I was like, no, I'm not having that.
Awesome. Not with a mom like you. He's not getting away with that. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So changing how you feel about mistakes, because what we can do is if we make a mistake, we can beat ourselves up about it, and that can contribute to the self-doubt. But if you realize that mistakes are actually an opportunity to grow and to learn, then you're not contributing to the self-doubt, because it's an opportunity to improve yourself. So actually telling yourself that you're allowed to make mistakes it's a biggie, because it can feel like, if you make a mistake, it can feel like the worst thing in the world, but actually it's the only way to learn. And this is what I've been drumming into my son. You
just can't avoid it, can you?
Yeah, exactly. So having a good mindset around that is essential for what you think about yourself, how you view yourself. And what we can do as well is we can set ourselves really, really high standards, and it's almost like perfectionism, where we set ourselves such high standards that we're never going to meet them. So if you're always aiming for up here, and I'm not saying do not stretch yourself and do not challenge yourself, but be realistic as well. Be realistic. That is essential for good self-esteem, actually, being realistic with yourself and having a balanced view of yourself. Because if you set yourself standards that really high, like perfection standards, you're never going to meet them. You're never ever going to meet them, and you'll always feel rubbish about yourself.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a surefire way to slap yourself in the face, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
and setting yourself up for that. No, that's a really good one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that's something that I did when I was a new mum. I set myself such high standards, and this is why I had this is why my anxiety went through the roof. Yeah.
Of course.
So yeah.
Being a new mom, it's hard enough without expecting to be perfect. Especially you don't get a manual when you get a child, do you? You just like, there you go figure it out. And if you're anything like I was, where you'd not actually held the baby until you had one, it was a shock. It's like, okay, that was fun times. But yeah, definitely. You don't want to be trying to be perfect at that point. Just do your best, I guess. Yeah.
That's it. That's all you can do is do your best. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when I like you said, there's no handbook with it. I expected this is the fixed and growth mindset thing again, but I had a very fixed mindset for a long time. I expected myself to be great at parenting straight away, but no one's going to be like, well, there probably are people that are, but
well, let's ask the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Might get a different story then. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, they I watched a video about this before, and it said they did a video of asking kids to say something about their parents, and they said these amazing, lovely things, and their parents were beating themselves up about being rubbish.
I think I've seen that video. It was really sweet, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think I've seen it.
Oh yeah. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? Just goes to show that you don't always use perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, so my next tip is accepting help.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Oh, God,
because what we can do when we have these high expectations of ourselves and we doubt ourselves is we feel like we can't ask for help because it looks like a weakness.
Yeah.
And so we will struggle on not asking for help, because we don't want anyone to see how we're feeling inside. But actually, it's okay to ask for help, and that's really, really important to remember. Is that it's okay to ask for help. And sometimes, if you've had you put these high expectations on yourself and then you don't meet them and then you beat yourself up, it's like a vicious cycle where you do all this stuff and it's chipping away at your self-esteem. So because you're being mean to yourself and you're being hard on yourself, you're chipping away at your self-esteem. So sometimes you get to the point where you feel like you don't even deserve to have help. So what you need to be doing is oh, sorry, I've skipped ahead. No, what we should be remembering is that it's okay to ask for help. That's something that we should, and in work as well, because I know, especially if you're new in a job, you're in a new job and you want to prove yourself, you can sometimes feel like you can't ask for help because you might be worried that people will think you're not good enough for the job, or you're going to get fired or something like that. So you just sort of struggle on. But actually learning that it's okay to ask for help is really, really good. And knowing your own limitations as well. And knowing that it's okay to have your own limitations.
I guess what I'm thinking is where someone like a coach would come in, someone who can just make that learning a little bit quicker than it would take for you to stay there trying to figure it out on your own. but actually ask for help, get help, and move along quicker. Yeah, that's just what's coming to mind for me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's what coaching is basically. It's helping you uncover that stuff that's holding you
Exactly.
back.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And actually, sometimes when you ask for help, it's like it's the best thing you've ever done in your life.
Absolutely.
Yes, so the next one is about giving yourself validation. So I pointed this out earlier, I mentioned this earlier about how we can feel ashamed to, or feel like it's wrong to praise ourselves or feel proud of ourselves, but it's absolutely essential for your mental well-being to give yourself positive validation. And what we can do if we don't know how to give ourselves positive validation is we will seek approval from other people. And this is when you start going down the route of people pleasing, where you adapt your personality and your behavior to get somebody else to like you, because what you're doing is you're getting them to top up your self-esteem because you don't know how to top it up yourself. So an amazing thing that I do, and that is really good practice to get into, is every single day think, because what we can do at the end of the day is we can look back at our day and think, I haven't done that, I haven't done that, I haven't done that. And we never look at the stuff that we've done, we always look at the stuff that we haven't done. And so that's one thing, flip that on its head and start looking at stuff that you've done rather than stuff that you haven't done. But also giving yourself recognition for how hard you've tried and for trying your best. And I do that every day. I think about how hard I've tried and if I've tried my best that day, like with the homeschooling at the moment.
Tell me about it. Oh, wow, that's a new kind of challenge. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But yeah, it's really important, really important, because we shouldn't be relying on other people to top up our self-esteem. It needs to come from within, because we cannot control other people, and that's what we're basically trying to do when we're seeking approval from other people. It doesn't sound very nice when you put it like that, but we're trying to control their opinion of us so that it tops up our self-esteem. And it's not in a bad way. It's just it's a survival mechanism. And it has to come from within. That self-love has to come from within, because you're the only thing that you've got full control of. You've got full control of yourself. So you can give yourself a constant drip of self-love, whereas other people you don't have control of. So you cannot rely on that as a source of self-love. So yeah, giving yourself love every day. That's what I prescribe. And stop telling yourself off. This is another thing. This is another habit that we can get into as well, where and it's really good to start recognizing this. Is we can be mean to ourselves, like just little things throughout the day. We chipping away at ourselves, like say you made a drink and you spilt a bit on the floor. You got a little stain on the carpet and you call yourself an idiot. Stuff like that. You go, oh, you idiot. Or you're at work and you were supposed to phone someone at 2:00 and you forgot and you remembered at 2:15. And then you tell yourself you're useless or something, or you say, oh, you're an idiot for doing that. Just little things like that can chips away how you feel about yourself. So yeah, if you can get into the habit of recognizing when you're being horrible to yourself and change it up for something a bit more kind and a bit more compassionate, being kind to ourselves is huge, is a huge thing. And if you just change the way you talk to yourself, change that internal dialogue, it completely changes how you feel about yourself, and gets rid of that self-doubt. And the last tip that I have got is visualizations, and
all right.
this is really really good to practice. If you've got something coming up that you're anxious about, or you're worried about, if you can practice visualizing yourself dealing with it in a confident way, or in a calm way. We always have to bring it back to what we can control, and that is ourselves. So it's all about how we feel in the moment. It's about how those feelings, and what you need to do is I'd probably do a whole video on visualizations as well. But if you can grab like 5 minutes here and there, and you just visualize yourself like handling the situation confidently. But you can't just, it's not good enough just to think it, you've got to feel the feelings as well. So you need to have a quiet moment, quiet 5 minutes, where you're just visualizing yourself in that situation, feeling confident and self-assured. And then when that situation arises, whatever the situation is, should help. It should help because you've visualized yourself. Because the mind doesn't know the difference between something happening right in a real situation happening right now, or what you're imagining. It doesn't know the difference. Yes, so imagining yourself, because if you're in this state of anxiety because you're worried you're going to get found out at work for the fraud that you are, because if you like got a new job, for example, and you go in every day worrying that you're going to get found out, practice visualizations. Or if you have team meetings, for example, you have a team meeting once a week, and you get yourself into a state in the lead up to that because you're worried you're going to get asked a question, you might get the question wrong. Imagine, do visualizations for that scenario. So there's lots of different ways you can use it, but I mean,
I guess that would sort of help with anything anyway, like a wide variety of things. Like taking, for example, what's happening right now with, I don't know if some of you here, you've had issues with jobs as well. Being able to, like what Naomi has said, visualizing, you going on to whatever the next thing is, whether that's another job you want to go for, or whether that's, you've been meaning to start your own thing and you've just not believed that you could. Actually believing and visualizing yourself doing that, of course taking action as well. So I'm sure that can help with any amount of things. So it's a lot of information you've given us today. It's a lot lots of really good
well
tips.
That's all my tips anyway.
I mean, obviously I am going to be going back and listening to this a few more times to take everything in. This first part is just sort of listening and taking it out, listening to it again. Okay, no, that's really fantastic. So I guess for the woman right now who is anxious with everything that's happening, and have concerns, whether that be about money or about going back to work, what would be sort of the most important thing of what you said that you want them to take away from this?
The most important tip that I would take away from this is that giving yourself that validation. That's just giving yourself praise every day, and stop being mean to yourself. Listen to that internal dialogue. How are you talking to yourself? Can you be kinder to yourself? That if you can change the way you think about yourself, you can go. That is just life changing, basically.
Amazing.
That would be my biggest takeaway. That one.
Yeah, I guess that's where good decisions are going to come from. When you're in that state, everything will sort of just really flow. Awesome. No, thank you. I think that was a lot to take in there. That's good. Is there any final thoughts? Anywhere you want people to come find you? I know that I've taken up a lot of your time already, but if someone wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, find you, where can we find you?
Well, yeah, I've got a page on Facebook, which is it's called Naomi Buffery, the Mum Coach. And if you want to come and follow me on there, there's loads of videos and helpful tools and stuff like that, all sort of centered around anxiety, helping anxiety. So yeah, if you want to come and follow me on my page, that's Naomi Buffery, the Mum Coach.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and put that in the post as well, so that they can reference that, try and link it if I can, so they can find you on there. Awesome. No, thank you so much for doing this, for coming on, giving us some of your time. If you have any questions, I'm sure you'll be happy to help them out as well and sort of take it from there. But thanks so much for your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Okay.